For the past several years, Classic Plus has almost felt like a myth. Everyone talks about it, everybody wants it, but nobody outside of Blizzard actually knows what it is. And every few months, some new rumor or potential leak appears that gets the community excited before eventually fading away. However, as of this week, something different has happened. A WoW data miner discovered evidence suggesting Blizzard acquired licensing for the name World of Warcraft Camelot. And also in the same week, Blizzard issued a cease and desist order against Project Ascension, one of the largest remaining WoW private servers. And now, creators who recently visited Blizzard are organizing a massive Season of Discovery community event starting on June 19th. Now, none of this confirms Classic Plus, but when all of these developments happen within the same week, only a few months before BlizzCon 2026, it's hard not to start asking questions. Now, let's start with the biggest story, World of Warcraft Camelot. As soon as players saw the name, speculation immediately exploded across the community. Because what exactly is Camelot? Is it a future retail expansion, a mobile game, an internal code name, or is it something aimed directly at classic players? The reason this caught people's attention is because Camelot doesn't really sound like a modern World of Warcraft. You know, when I hear Midnight, I immediately think about something obviously related to retail, the Blood Elves, the Void, the World Soul Saga. But Camelot sounds completely different. It sounds like knights, kingdoms, adventure, exploration, something that's related to classic fantasy. And whether that's intentional or not, that's exactly the kind of fantasy theme many players associate with classic WoW. Now, to be clear, this doesn't prove anything. Camelot could be completely unrelated to Classic Plus, it could be a side project, it could be something Blizzard never even releases. But if Blizzard truly is working on some kind of next generation classic experience, Camelot certainly sounds more like that than it does being related to something in retail. And that's where things start getting interesting, because Camelot isn't the only thing that happened this week. As of June 12th, Blizzard issued a cease and desist against Project Ascension, and according to court documents, this is a federal lawsuit. Now, for those unfamiliar, Ascension isn't your typical private server. Ascension has spent some time experimenting with new systems, custom progression, and alternate ways to play World of Warcraft. In many ways, just like the recent private server Turtle WoW, it's another close example of players creating their own version of Classic Plus. Now, I'm not saying Blizzard shut down Ascension because Classic Plus is coming. That would be a massive leap. Blizzard has every legal right to protect their intellectual property, but they have been increasingly aggressive toward private servers over the past year. We saw Turtle WoW get shut down, the Stormforge project got a cease and desist order, and now Project Ascension. And I do think the timing is worth taking note of, because if Blizzard is preparing its own long-term vision for classic WoW, it wouldn't be shocking to see them become more aggressive toward unofficial versions occupying that same space, especially with BlizzCon happening in September. Again, not proof, just another piece of the puzzle. Now let's move to what I personally find the most interesting part of this story is the creator visits, because over the past several months, we've heard about the content creators visiting Blizzard to discuss something, and to this day we still don't know exactly what that something is. Obviously, the creators could have possibly signed NDAs, and Blizzard doesn't want future announcements leaked, but what's important is that these meetings happened, and now after those meetings, another interesting development appeared. Guzu and Savix were two of the creators that met with Blizzard and are now helping organize a massive Season of Discovery community event happening on June 19th. The goal is essentially to create a fresh sod experience where players re-roll together and start over to try to rebalance the population. On the surface, that sounds completely normal. Content creators organize community events all the time, but look at the timing. The events start June 19th. It runs for roughly a month, which takes us into late July, and then soon after, BlizzCon 2026 arrives. Now, maybe that's coincidence, maybe it's nothing, but let's think about this from Blizzard's perspective. If you were planning a major Classic Plus announcement at BlizzCon, what would you want players talking about beforehand? Probably Classic, probably Season of Discovery, probably experimental ideas, the future of Classic WoW overall. And that's exactly what this event accomplishes. It gets players back into SOD, it gets content creators talking about SOD, it gets the community discussing experimental Classic content again. And remember, Season of Discovery was essentially Blizzard's testing ground for new vanilla content, new abilities, new class designs, new raid mechanics, new ideas. If Classic Plus eventually becomes a reality, a fresh SOD event works out for Blizzard because Classic Plus would be the direct result of what they've learned from Season of Discovery. And that's what brings us to BlizzCon, because if Classic Plus is real, let's face it, nobody knows if it's true or not. We've just gotten hints. Where else would Blizzard announce it? This isn't the kind of thing you casually reveal in a blue post. This isn't the kind of thing you drop in a random interview. Classic Plus would be one of the biggest announcements in the history of WoW Classic, and that's where the rumors saying that Classic Plus is potentially a core pillar of WoW's development team and also a flagship title for them, that seems to be the case. It would absolutely deserve a BlizzCon stage, and the timing lines up almost perfectly. Camelot appears, Project Ascension gets a legal response from Blizzard, creators continue talking about the future of Classic. Now a major SOD event begins to hype the community even more, and then BlizzCon arrives shortly after. Now again, none of this proves anything, but it's starting to feel like Classic Plus is closing in. Now, to be fair, there are plenty of reasons to remain skeptical. Like I said, the Classic community has been down this road before. We've connected the dots, we've analyzed clues, we've convinced ourselves something big was happening, and sometimes nothing happened. The state of Azeroth at the beginning of the year was a perfect example of that. We thought we were getting an announcement related to Classic Plus, but we didn't.
I'm really excited to announce that. I guess we'll save that for later.
Now, Camelot could also have absolutely nothing to do with Classic Plus, like I said. The Ascension situation could simply be Blizzard protecting its IP. The SOD event could just be creators trying to bring life back into a version of the game they enjoy. Those are all completely reasonable explanations. And until Blizzard officially says something, nobody actually knows. But for me personally, I think the best comparison I can give is what happened before the launch of Classic WoW in 2019. Before Blizzard officially released Classic, we saw major vanilla private servers getting cease and desist orders just like Nostalrius did. Now fast forward to today, we've got creators meeting with Blizzard behind closed doors, we've got a potential Camelot leak, we've got Blizzard filing a lawsuit against one of the largest remaining private servers, and we've got a massive Season of Discovery event launching only a couple months before BlizzCon. When you look at the overall situation, it's very easy to start connecting the dots. I think it's completely reasonable to speculate that Blizzard could be preparing for a major Classic Plus announcement and wants to eliminate unofficial competition before revealing what's next at BlizzCon. Maybe Camelot ends up being something entirely different. Maybe all of these events are unrelated, but if Blizzard really is preparing to unveil Classic Plus, then looking back, this week might end up being one of the biggest weeks of clues we've seen so far. But what do you think? Are these just coincidences, or do you think Blizzard might finally be preparing for Classic Plus? Or should I say World of Warcraft Camelot? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh man, this is insane. There's so fucking many of them. Holy shit, dude. Oh, here they go. Dude, they came out like so fucking fast. Made a big mistake being first in line. Yeah.